Welcome to Before and After 2025, your ultimate destination for captivating stories, in-depth analysis, and the latest updates on the ever-evolving world of celebrity transformations, legal dramas, and the fascinating journeys of public figures. We delve into the pivotal moments that redefine careers and lives, exploring the before and after of significant events shaping the narratives of those in the spotlight. From shocking legal battles and unexpected downfalls to remarkable comebacks and personal evolutions, we bring you the stories that capture the zeitgeist. Subscribe now to stay informed and engaged with the compelling tales of change and consequence that define our times. Get ready to witness the remarkable before and after, only on Before and After 2025. Alright folks, settle in, because the saga surrounding Austin Chumlee Russell, the affable and often comedic heart of Pawn Stars, has taken a turn darker and more dramatic than any dusty relic unearthed in the gold and silver pawn shop. The headlines are ablaze, the social media feeds are a frenzy, all stemming from a single, shocking moment in a Las Vegas courtroom. Chumlee, the fan favorite, collapsing upon hearing his sentence, a scene ripped straight from the most gripping of legal dramas. Now, let's dissect this unfolding narrative with the keen eye of a seasoned commentator and the meticulous detail of a journalist. The premise itself is jarring, isn't it? Chumlee, the purveyor of good-natured banter and the foil to Rick's stern demeanor, finding himself not haggling over a vintage video game, but facing the cold steel of justice. The details emerging paint a picture far removed from the lighthearted world of reality television we've come to know. Accusations of firearm and drug possession, charges carrying the potential for significant prison time, a stark and unsettling contrast to the on-screen persona. The courtroom scene, as reported, was thick with an almost palpable tension, the weight of the verdict hanging heavy in the air, and then, the unthinkable, Chumlee, seemingly unable to bear the pronouncement of his fate, succumbing to what has been described as a collapse of disbelief. This wasn't a carefully crafted scene for the cameras, folks. This was raw, visceral, a human moment of profound distress playing out under the harsh glare of the legal system. The shockwaves, we're told, reverberated through the courtroom, leaving onlookers in stunned silence, a silence that speaks volumes about the unexpected gravity of the situation. But what led us to this precipice? What sequence of events propelled the lovable Chumlee from pawn shop antics to the precipice of incarceration? The timeline, as pieced together, reveals a gradual divergence between the public image and a seemingly troubled private life, the trappings of fame, the luxury cars, the mansion, the extravagant lifestyle documented on social media, all stood in stark opposition to the humble beginnings and the down-to-earth charm that endeared him to millions. The mid-2010s appear to be a crucial period. Pawn Stars reached its zenith of popularity. Chumlee's personal brand expanded with ventures like his candy shop, yet beneath the surface, the pressures of fame were reportedly taking their toll. In a rare, candid interview, Chumlee himself alluded to the disorienting impact of sudden fame, the struggle to cope with the loss of anonymity. This internal turmoil, it seems, manifested in increasingly reckless behavior, culminating in the 2016 police raid on his Las Vegas home. Initially linked to a sexual assault investigation, for which no charges were ultimately filed due to insufficient evidence, the raid unearthed a cache of firearms, drugs, and drug paraphernalia. A revelation that sent shockwaves through the fanbase. The cheerful, innocent Chumlee they saw on screen was now entangled in a narrative of legal peril. The contrast was stark, the disillusionment palpable. The ensuing legal battle was a protracted affair, a stark reminder that even reality television stars are not immune to the consequences of their actions. The trial itself was reportedly fraught with tension, the prosecution presenting evidence of the seized items, the defense attempting to paint a picture of a man overwhelmed by fame and lacking criminal intent. Plea negotiations, we understand, became a central point, the legal teams maneuvering for the best possible outcome. And then, the sentencing, the moment that triggered the dramatic collapse. While the specific details of the sentence may vary depending on the latest reports, the very fact of a sentence severe enough to elicit such a reaction speaks volumes. It suggests a judgment that carries significant weight, a potential disruption to the life and career Chumlee has built over the past decade. The immediate aftermath of the collapse was a scene of medical concern, security rushing to his aid, the courtroom transformed into a temporary medical bay. The outpouring of concern from fans online was immediate and widespread, a testament to the connection he forged with viewers through the television screen. Hashtags of support flooded social media. A digital vigil for a fallen star. Looking ahead, the future remains uncertain. The legal ramifications of the sentence will undoubtedly be significant. The impact on Pawn Stars, a show intrinsically linked to Chumlee's presence, is yet to be fully determined. Will the History Channel stand by him? Will the fans forgive and forget? These are the questions swirling in the aftermath of this dramatic courtroom scene. This isn't just a celebrity scandal, folks. It's a cautionary tale about the complexities of fame, the potential for the lines between public persona and private reality to blur, and the sobering consequences that can follow. The image of Chumlee collapsing in court is a powerful and unsettling one. A stark reminder that even the most lighthearted of figures can find themselves facing the heavy hand of the law. We'll continue to follow this story as it unfolds, providing you with the latest updates and analysis, because this, undoubtedly, is a chapter in the Pawn Stars saga that no one saw coming. Stay tuned. The immediate aftermath of Chumlee's courtroom collapse was a maelstrom of speculation and concern. Medical updates, often vague and filtered through concerned parties, trickled out, painting a picture of severe distress, likely a manifestation of the immense pressure and anxiety culminating in that pivotal moment. The image of the once jovial Chumlee being attended to by paramedics within the hallowed halls of justice was a stark and unsettling tableau, a far cry from the boisterous banter of the pawn shop floor. The legal ramifications, as we've touched upon, are the crux of this continuing drama. The sentence, whatever its precise terms, hangs like a Damoclean sword over Chumlee's future. The possibility of appeal, hinted at by his legal team, offers a glimmer of potential reprieve, a chance to challenge the verdict and perhaps reshape the narrative. However, the appeals process is a notoriously arduous and often uphill battle, requiring compelling legal arguments and substantial evidence to overturn a conviction. The impact on the Pawn Stars franchise is another significant thread in this unfolding story. The show, a cultural phenomenon for over a decade, has built its success on the dynamic between its core personalities, Rick, Corey, Chumlee, and formerly the Old Man. Chumlee's affable nature and comedic timing have been integral to the show's appeal, providing a crucial element of levity amidst the often serious business of appraising and negotiating historical artifacts. His absence, whether temporary or permanent, would undoubtedly leave a void, potentially altering the show's chemistry and viewership. Whispers from behind the scenes suggest a network grappling with a delicate situation. The balance between supporting a long-standing talent and navigating the sensitivities surrounding serious legal issues is a precarious one. The narrative of redemption, as some anonymous sources have suggested, could be a potential avenue for Chumlee's return, provided he demonstrates genuine remorse and a commitment to rehabilitation. However, the court of public opinion can be a harsh and unforgiving judge, and any misstep could further tarnish his image and the show's reputation. Rick Harrison, the patriarch of the Pawn Stars empire, has maintained a carefully guarded silence in the immediate wake of the sentencing and Chumlee's collapse. His reaction, or lack thereof in the public sphere, has been a subject of much scrutiny. Their on-screen dynamic, often portraying a brotherly bond, has led many to wonder about the private conversations and support being offered behind closed doors. His eventual statement, when it comes, will likely be closely analyzed for any indication of the future of their professional and personal relationship. The fan reaction remains a complex tapestry of sympathy, disappointment, and even anger. The die-hard supporters rally under hashtags of solidarity, clinging to the image of the Chumlee they've come to know and love through years of television. Others express a sense of betrayal, the revelations of his legal troubles shattering the illusion of the carefree persona. The comments sections and online forums are battlegrounds of opinion, reflecting the deep emotional investment viewers have in these on-screen personalities. The before and after 2025 framing of some headlines underscores the transformative nature of this legal battle. The Chumlee of the early Pawn Stars years, the wide-eyed newcomer eager to learn the ropes, stands in stark contrast to the man facing the gravitas of a courtroom sentence. The 2025 marker hints at a future irrevocably shaped by these events, a potential turning point in his life and career trajectory. As commentators, we must resist the urge to engage in pure speculation and instead focus on the verifiable facts and the broader implications. This case serves as a stark reminder of the human element behind the celebrity facade. These are not just characters on a screen, they are individuals with their own struggles and vulnerabilities, subject to the same legal and societal consequences as anyone else. The unfolding narrative of Chumlee's legal battle is far from over. The appeals process, potential network decisions, and the evolving public perception will all contribute to the next chapter of this story. Whether it becomes a tale of redemption or a cautionary tragedy remains to be seen, but one thing is certain, the image of Chumlee collapsing in that courtroom will linger, a powerful symbol of the fragility of fame and the often turbulent intersection of reality television and real life. We will continue to monitor these developments closely, providing you with informed analysis as this drama continues to unfold. The pawn shop doors may be closed for Chumlee for now, but the story, undoubtedly, remains open. Adding another layer of complexity to this unfolding saga is the potential for previously unseen aspects of the Pawn Stars dynamic to be brought into sharper focus. Chumlee's own delayed response, the devastating explosion hinted at regarding his relationship with Rick, suggests that the fallout from this legal battle could extend beyond the courtroom and into the very fabric of the show's interpersonal relationships. If the on-screen camaraderie was indeed a brutal power play masked as friendship, as some reports now suggest based on Chumlee's alleged statements, the foundation upon which the show's appeal was built could be significantly undermined. This alleged revelation about the true nature of Rick and Chumlee's relationship casts a retrospective shadow over years of on-screen interactions. Moments that were once perceived as lighthearted banter or mentor-mentee dynamics could now be reinterpreted through a lens of potential exploitation or manipulation. The impact on viewers, who have invested years in believing in the authenticity of these relationships, could be profound, leading to a reassessment of the entire Pawn Stars narrative. The timing of Chumlee's purported devastating explosion is also significant. Emerging after his sentencing and collapse, it suggests a potential catalyst. The weight of his legal predicament and perhaps a sense of disillusionment with those he considered allies, finally prompting him to speak out. This could be a strategic move, aimed at garnering public sympathy or perhaps even influencing the appeals process by painting a picture of a man who was perhaps vulnerable or taken advantage of. Rick Harrison's continued silence in the face of these allegations is deafening. His carefully constructed image as the shrewd but fair businessman, the paternal figure guiding his younger colleagues, now faces a direct challenge. Any future statement from him will be meticulously scrutinized, not only for its content regarding Chumlee's legal troubles but also for its tone and sincerity in addressing these deeply personal accusations. The potential for a public falling out between these two central figures could have irreparable consequences for the show's future. The dynamic within the gold and silver pawn shop itself, once seemingly a harmonious blend of family business and reality television spectacle, could also be irrevocably altered. The remaining cast members, Corey and any other recurring personalities, will find themselves navigating a new and potentially uncomfortable landscape. Their reactions, both on and off screen, will be closely watched for any indication of shifting loyalties or internal tensions. The familiar rhythm of the show, the haggling over artifacts interspersed with personal anecdotes, could be replaced by an underlying current of unease and uncertainty. From a journalistic perspective, these allegations of a brutal power play within the show's core relationships demand rigorous investigation, corroborating Chumlee's claims, exploring any potential evidence of an imbalance of power or exploitation, and seeking responses from Rick Harrison and other involved parties will be crucial in uncovering the truth behind the on-screen facade. This could potentially lead to a significant shift in how the public perceives not only Chumlee and Rick but the entire genre of reality television, raising questions about the authenticity and ethical considerations behind the carefully curated narratives presented to viewers. As commentators, we must acknowledge the potential for these revelations to be motivated by various factors, including legal strategy or personal grievances. However, the impact on the public consciousness, the shattering of a long-held perception of camaraderie, is undeniable. The narrative of Pawn Stars, once a seemingly straightforward tale of a family business navigating the world of collectibles, has now taken a decidedly darker and more complex turn, raising profound questions about the nature of reality, the performance of relationships for entertainment, and the potential consequences of unchecked power dynamics, even within the seemingly lighthearted world of reality television. The unfolding chapters of this story promise to be anything but predictable, and the long-term repercussions for all involved remain to be seen. The pawn shop may be a stage, but the drama unfolding is undeniably real. The ripple effects of Chumlee's courtroom collapse and the subsequent allegations regarding his relationship with Rick Harrison are spreading far beyond the immediate legal and personal spheres, potentially impacting the broader landscape of reality television and the way audiences perceive the genre's authenticity. The carefully constructed narratives that have captivated viewers for years are now facing increased scrutiny, prompting a reevaluation of the ethical considerations and the potential for manipulation behind the scenes. The once seemingly transparent world of reality TV is now shrouded in a new layer of suspicion, as audiences grapple with the possibility that the relationships they've invested in might be carefully crafted performances rather than genuine connections. The media's role in dissecting this unfolding drama is paramount. The initial shock of Chumlee's legal troubles has now been compounded by the deeply personal accusations leveled against Rick Harrison. Journalistic integrity demands a thorough and unbiased investigation into these claims, seeking corroborating evidence from other individuals involved in the show's production, former associates, and any available documentation that might shed light on the true nature of the working environment. Within the gold and silver pawn shop, this level of scrutiny could potentially unveil uncomfortable truths about the power dynamics inherent in reality television, where established stars often wield significant influence over less established or subordinate cast members. The potential for a significant shift in public perception of Pawn Stars is undeniable. The show's longevity and popularity were built on the perceived authenticity of the characters and their interactions. If a central relationship is revealed to be based on exploitation rather than genuine camaraderie, the foundation of that appeal could crumble. Viewers who once tuned in for the lighthearted banter and the shared passion for historical artifacts might now view past episodes through a more critical lens, searching for subtle clues or inconsistencies that support Chumlee's allegations. This could lead to a decline in viewership and a tarnishing of the show's once sterling reputation. The network's response to these escalating controversies will be crucial in determining the future of Pawn Stars. They face a delicate balancing act between supporting talent who have contributed significantly to their ratings and addressing serious allegations that could damage their brand. A failure to acknowledge and investigate these claims adequately could lead to accusations of enabling or condoning unethical behavior. Conversely, a swift and decisive condemnation of any wrongdoing, even before a thorough investigation is complete, could alienate a significant portion of their audience who remain loyal to Rick Harrison. The network's public statements, their internal investigations, if any, and their ultimate decisions regarding the show's cast and format will be closely watched as indicators of their commitment to ethical practices and audience trust. The broader implications for the reality television genre extend beyond Pawn Stars. The success of many reality shows hinges on the audience's belief in the authenticity of the relationships and situations depicted. If a high-profile case like this reveals a significant disconnect between on-screen portrayal and off-screen reality, it could erode the overall credibility of the genre. Viewers might become more skeptical of the narratives presented in other reality shows, questioning the genuineness of the interactions and the potential for manipulation or scripting. This could lead to a decline in the genre's overall popularity and a demand for greater transparency and ethical standards in reality television production. The legal proceedings against Chumlee, even if an appeal is successful, have already inflicted significant damage to his public image. The association with drug and firearm charges, coupled with the dramatic courtroom collapse, has created a narrative far removed from his once affable persona. Rebuilding his reputation, even if he avoids significant prison time, will be a monumental task. His future career prospects, both within and outside of Pawn Stars, will likely be contingent on his ability to demonstrate genuine remorse, address any underlying issues that contributed to his legal troubles, and convince the public that he has learned from his mistakes. His willingness to be transparent about his experiences, including the alleged power dynamics within the show, could be a crucial factor in shaping his future public narrative. Rick Harrison, regardless of the veracity of Chumlee's allegations, also faces a significant challenge to his public image. The accusations of a brutal power play strike at the core of his carefully cultivated persona as a fair and knowledgeable businessman. Even if these allegations are ultimately proven false or unsubstantiated, The mere fact that they have been made public can sow seeds of doubt in the minds of viewers. His future actions and statements will need to address these concerns directly and convincingly to maintain the trust and respect of his audience. A perceived failure to do so could have long-lasting consequences for his personal brand and the continued success of his business ventures. The role of social media in amplifying and shaping this narrative cannot be overstated. The immediate outpouring of support for Chumlee after his collapse, followed by the rapid dissemination and discussion of his allegations against Rick, demonstrates the power of online platforms in influencing public opinion. Fan forums, social media threads, and online news outlets have become battlegrounds of speculation and debate, with viewers dissecting every available piece of information and forming their own conclusions. The speed and reach of social media can both accelerate the spread of information and misinformation, and create intense pressure on the individuals and entities involved to respond and address public concerns. From a psychological perspective, the dramatic courtroom collapse could be interpreted as a physical manifestation of immense psychological distress. The weight of the legal charges, the potential for significant loss of freedom, and the emotional turmoil of his personal and professional relationships likely contributed to a state of extreme anxiety culminating in that moment. This highlights the often overlooked human cost of fame and the intense pressures faced by individuals living under the constant scrutiny of the public eye. The need for mental health support for individuals in high-profile and high-pressure environments becomes increasingly apparent in situations like this. The legal strategies employed by both Chumlee and Rick Harrison will be critical in navigating the complex legal and public relations landscape ahead. Chumlee's legal team will likely focus on the appeals process, potentially leveraging any new information or allegations to support their case. Rick Harrison's legal team will undoubtedly work to defend his reputation against Chumlee's claims, potentially through public statements, legal filings, and behind-the-scenes efforts to control the narrative. The interplay between these legal and public relations strategies will significantly shape the ultimate outcome of this unfolding drama. The unfolding narrative surrounding Chumlee and Rick Harrison has become a multifaceted examination of fame, fortune, and the often murky intersection of personal and professional lives under the intense scrutiny of the public eye. The initial legal drama surrounding Chumlee's arrest and sentencing has now been compounded by deeply personal allegations that strike at the very heart of the Pawn Stars phenomenon, the perceived familial bond between its core personalities. This shift from legal proceedings to accusations of exploitation and manipulation has added a layer of intrigue and unease, transforming what was once a straightforward celebrity scandal into a potentially seismic event for the reality television landscape. The veracity of Chumlee's claims regarding a brutal power play remains a central point of contention and investigation. Without concrete evidence or corroborating testimony from other individuals involved in the show's production, these allegations exist primarily as a potentially damaging accusation. However, the very act of making such claims publicly carries significant weight and suggests a deep-seated resentment or sense of injustice on Chumlee's part. His motivations for speaking out now, after years of seemingly amicable on-screen collaboration, are also subject to speculation. Could this be a strategic maneuver within the context of his legal appeals, an attempt to garner public sympathy by portraying himself as a victim? Or is it a genuine outpouring of long-suppressed grievances, finally unleashed by the stress and disillusionment of his legal troubles? Rick Harrison's continued silence, while perhaps a strategic move advised by his legal team, is increasingly conspicuous. In the age of immediate social media responses and public pronouncements, his decision to remain largely out of the fray allows the narrative to be shaped primarily by Chumlee's allegations and the subsequent media and public discourse. This silence could be interpreted in various ways: as a sign of guilt, as a calculated attempt to avoid further inflaming the situation, or simply as a deference to the ongoing legal complexities. However, in the court of public opinion, silence can often be misconstrued as tacit admission or a lack of empathy, potentially further damaging his already tarnished image. The potential ramifications for the Pawn Stars brand extend beyond mere viewership numbers. The show has spawned numerous spin-offs, merchandise lines, and cemented the gold and silver pawn shop as a major tourist attraction in Las Vegas. The erosion of the core relationship between Rick and Chumlee, if proven to be based on exploitation, could undermine the authenticity upon which this entire empire was built. Consumers might be less inclined to purchase merchandise or visit the pawn shop if the underlying narrative of familial camaraderie is perceived as a fabrication, the long-term financial implications for all involved could be substantial. The role of other cast members, particularly Corey Harrison, in this unfolding drama also warrants attention. His on-screen relationship with both Rick and Chumlee has often portrayed a dynamic of sibling-like ribbing and shared experiences. His public statements, or lack thereof, could provide valuable insights into the atmosphere behind the scenes and potentially corroborate or contradict Chumlee's allegations. His position is a delicate one, as he navigates loyalty to his father and the potential implications of siding with either party. His silence, like Rick's, speaks volumes and leaves room for speculation about his internal conflicts and his assessment of the situation. The legal complexities surrounding Chumlee's initial charges and potential appeal are intertwined with the allegations against Rick. A successful appeal for Chumlee could potentially lend credence to his claims of being unfairly treated or manipulated, indirectly supporting his narrative of a power imbalance within the show's dynamics. Conversely, if his appeal fails, his credibility regarding the allegations against Rick might also be questioned. The legal and public relations battles are inextricably linked, each influencing the other in a complex and unpredictable manner. The ethical considerations for the reality television industry as a whole are brought into sharp focus by this case. The pursuit of compelling narratives and high ratings can sometimes lead to the exploitation of individuals or the manipulation of situations for dramatic effect. The line between capturing authentic moments and orchestrating manufactured drama can become blurred. The allegations against Rick Harrison serve as a stark reminder of the potential for abuse of power within these environments, where the lives and livelihoods of cast members are often dependent on the whims and decisions of producers and lead personalities. A greater emphasis on ethical guidelines, transparency, and the protection of vulnerable individuals within reality television production may be a necessary outcome of this controversy. The long-term impact on Chumlee's personal well-being is also a significant concern. The stress of legal battles, the potential for imprisonment, and the emotional fallout from a perceived betrayal by a longtime colleague can take a severe toll on an individual's mental and emotional health. Access to adequate mental health support and a genuine commitment to addressing any underlying issues will be crucial for his rehabilitation and future well-being, regardless of the legal outcomes or the future of his career. Rick Harrison, despite the allegations, has cultivated a significant level of public goodwill over the years. His image as a knowledgeable historian and shrewd businessman has resonated with a large audience. However, the erosion of trust, once lost, can be incredibly difficult to regain. His future public appearances, interviews, and business dealings will likely be met with a heightened level of scrutiny, and he will need to actively work to rebuild his reputation and address the concerns raised by Chumlee's allegations in a sincere and convincing manner. The evolving narrative of Chumlee and Rick Harrison serves as a compelling case study in the complexities of fame, the fragility of public image, and the often hidden realities behind the carefully constructed facades of reality television. It underscores the importance of critical viewership, encouraging audiences to look beyond the surface narratives and consider the potential for manipulation or exploitation. It also highlights the need for greater accountability and ethical standards within the entertainment industry, ensuring that the pursuit of ratings does not come at the expense of the well-being and fair treatment of individuals involved in these productions. As this drama continues to unfold, it promises to offer further insights into the often turbulent intersection of reality and performance in the world of television, leaving a lasting impact on how we perceive the stories and the personalities that grace our screens. The final chapters of this saga are yet to be written, and the ultimate consequences for all involved remain shrouded in uncertainty. The intricate web of accusations and legal battles surrounding Chumlee and Rick Harrison continues to ensnare not only the individuals themselves but also the very fabric of the Pawn Stars' legacy and the broader perception of reality television's authenticity. The initial shock of Chumlee's legal woes has now morphed into a deeper, more unsettling narrative of alleged exploitation and fractured relationships, forcing audiences to confront the uncomfortable possibility that the on-screen camaraderie they once cherished was a carefully constructed illusion. This paradigm shift has the potential to redefine how viewers engage with reality television, fostering a more critical and discerning eye towards the narratives presented as genuine. The silence emanating from Rick Harrison's camp remains a significant element of this unfolding drama. In an era where public figures often utilize social media and press releases to control narratives and address allegations swiftly, his prolonged reticence speaks volumes. Whether this is a strategic legal maneuver, a personal struggle to process the accusations, or a reflection of the veracity of Chumlee's claims, the absence of his voice allows Chumlee's narrative to gain traction and shape public opinion. This silence, while perhaps intended to mitigate further damage, could inadvertently be perceived as a lack of empathy or an inability to refute the allegations directly, further eroding the trust he once held with a significant portion of the audience. Chumlee's decision to voice his grievances publicly, particularly the assertion of a brutal power play masked as friendship, is a high-stakes gamble. If his claims are substantiated by further evidence or corroborated by other individuals associated with the show, it could lead to a significant reckoning for Rick Harrison and potentially tarnish the entire Pawn Stars brand. However, if his allegations are perceived as baseless or motivated solely by his legal predicament, it could further damage his own credibility and undermine any potential public sympathy for his situation. The court of public opinion is a fickle entity, and the long-term consequences of his public accusations remain uncertain. The role of the History Channel in navigating this crisis is critical, as the network that has profited immensely from the Pawn Stars franchise. They face immense pressure to address the serious allegations that have emerged. Their response must strike a delicate balance between supporting talent who have been integral to their success and demonstrating a commitment to ethical conduct and a safe working environment for all individuals involved in their productions. A tepid or dismissive response could alienate viewers and advertisers alike, while a hasty condemnation without due process could lead to legal repercussions and accusations of bias. The network's handling of this situation will serve as a litmus test for the industry's willingness to address potential issues of power dynamics and exploitation within reality television. The potential for legal action stemming from Chumlee's allegations against Rick Harrison cannot be discounted, depending on the nature and severity of the alleged power play. There could be grounds for civil lawsuits alleging harassment, exploitation, or breach of contract. Such legal proceedings would undoubtedly be protracted and highly publicized, further exacerbating the public relations crisis surrounding Pawn Stars and potentially revealing damaging information about the inner workings of the show's production. The legal battles, both criminal, Chumlee's case, and potentially civil, Chumlee versus Harrison, could unfold concurrently, creating a complex and unpredictable legal landscape. The impact on the numerous spin-offs and related ventures associated with the Pawn Stars brand is also a significant consideration. The success of these ancillary projects is intrinsically linked to the popularity and positive image of the core show and its central personalities. A significant erosion of public trust in Rick and Chumlee could have a cascading effect, leading to decreased viewership for spin-offs, lower sales of merchandise, and a decline in tourism to the gold and silver pawn shop. The financial stakes for all involved are substantial, and the long-term viability of the Pawn Stars empire could be in jeopardy. The evolving narrative also prompts a broader discussion about the responsibilities of producers and networks in ensuring the well-being and fair treatment of reality television cast members. The intense pressures of fame, the demands of constant filming, and the potential for manipulation in the pursuit of dramatic content can create a vulnerable environment for individuals whose livelihoods are tied to the success of a show. Stricter regulations, greater transparency in contracts, and access to independent advocacy for cast members might be necessary to prevent potential abuses of power and ensure a more ethical and equitable working environment within the reality television industry. The role of social media influencers and commentators in shaping public opinion on this issue is also noteworthy. Their analyses, often reaching millions of viewers, can significantly impact how the public perceives the allegations and the individuals involved. The speed and virality of online content can amplify both factual reporting and unsubstantiated rumors, making it challenging for the involved parties to control the narrative. The pressure on Rick Harrison and the History Channel to address the allegations directly through these channels is immense, as their silence allows the online discourse to be dominated by Chumlee's claims and the interpretations of online commentators. From a sociological perspective, the intense public interest in this case reflects a broader fascination with the lives and struggles of celebrities, particularly those whose fame is rooted in seemingly ordinary or relatable circumstances. The perceived authenticity of reality television creates a sense of intimacy and connection with the on-screen personalities, making any revelation of a fabricated reality or unethical behavior particularly jarring and disillusioning for viewers. This case serves as a reminder of the constructed nature of media narratives and the importance of maintaining a critical perspective, even when engaging with seemingly real content.